and welcome back to Well Played. I'm Caroline Hendershot.
And I'm Blake Morgan. From
Name
now
change.
on,
Whoop, whoop.
name change. Who is she?
Yeah, do you want to explain?
Basically, as you all know, I have two last names, Lou, Merwin.
Yeah.
For my mom, my dad.
Yep.
It's a lot of characters. It's a mouthful. Some people still can't pronounce it, even though it's very phonetic.
Mm-hmm.
And Morgan is my middle name.
Cute.
Because my mom named my siblings and I. Sorry to get into family lore so early.
I love it.
It's 7:52 a.m. by the way. My mom named all of us, me and my four siblings, so that if we ever became famous, which I'm not.
She's on her way.
I'm just more public now. If we ever became famous, we could drop our last name and go by our first and middle names.
Wait, that's a really cool thing and great foresight by
I
your
know.
mom.
Would we like a roll call of my siblings' names?
Yes.
Okay. Wesley Ross.
Cool.
Cassidy Dane.
Cool.
Leilani Ashley. Corey Gray. Blake Morgan.
What the hell? Those are sick names.
I know. She was cooking. She was in the lab for a while with those.
Oh my God.
So I'm Blake Morgan now. If you follow me on Instagram, which you all should, it's BL3As4Ks
Oh my God, so good.
You'll see that my name now is Blake Morgan, and that's the story.
Wow. I'm, one, so impressed with your mom. Two, so impressed with you spouting out that Instagram name seamlessly.
I think I got like a lot of sleep this weekend, surprisingly, even though it was my birthday weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling like a new woman.
I'm just kind of jealous because not that I don't like my middle name, it's just very basic.
What
like
is it?
Caroline Grace.
Oh,
You know, it's just
it is a common one, I would
Yeah.
say. It kind of almost
like
falls
Rose.
into Marie category.
or Marie. Yeah.
It's a very big thing in
So,
Jersey.
I would also just like to preface that your Blake Lou Merwin is still not as many letters as Caroline Hendershot.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's okay. You're right.
You know when you used to take standardized tests and you had to fill out all
you were
of
there
the
for
bubbles?
hours because of that.
Oh my God. That was the worst part. I
Part.
hated it. Okay, so we have a lot going on. It's election day. Everyone make sure you get out and vote.
Go vote.
We also have so many sport topics to cover, but you had a birthday as well.
I
Did you
did.
enjoy the birthday?
I did.
Good.
I got a little too sauced Thursday night.
As you should. It's your birthday.
Recovery day Friday.
Yep.
Friday night, karaoke, which is why I kind of sound like this, but also because of the marathon that we went to on Sunday.
Yeah.
We were out there barking.
No,
screaming.
literally, Blake was barking. She turned into a frat bro in 2 seconds, like overnight.
I don't know her.
And she was barking at people.
That was my male alter ego of Blake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We were at mile 26, so I'm sure we saw some people. I actually wanted to give a shout out to one of our listeners,
Yes.
Anisha, who DM'd me last week after our episode and was
Mm-hmm.
like, I love your signs. The Harrison Butker one was so funny. So shout out to Anisha. She completed the race. We
Okay.
didn't get to see her, but we were there in spirit.
Also, shout out to Courtney because
yeah.
we had Courtney. So everyone, you know,
Wait, you're also talking about Courtney as if we know her personally.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to give context. Sorry, I beat myself to the punch. When you're running, obviously, a lot of the runners have their name on their bib or on their shirt somehow. So we started realizing that we were losing our voices by screaming people's names because we were screaming our heads off. So then we were like, oh, if we chant as a pack, it's more
Right, more force.
It's more force. It's more
voices.
impactful. Yeah, it's louder. More people can hear it. So someone named Courtney was running by, and we all of a sudden are going, Courtney. And we were getting really into it. And Courtney happened to be recording because she was making a TikTok of the marathon. And then someone tagged me on Instagram
That's
or
so
on
crazy.
TikTok and was like, oh my God, Caroline
This
Hendershot.
you?
And then you can see like you, me, and our producer Sean jumping like preschoolers on Halloween because of sugar highs. And she flips the camera and she's like, I don't even know those people, but like this is the New York energy or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, we were so caught in the act. But
Yes.
honestly, it was great.
It was really fun.
Yeah, I also watched every TikTok that I was watching yesterday. I was really emotional over. Did I cry at my own marathon? No. Did I cry at the marathon on Sunday?
No.
Also no. Did I cry yesterday watching every TikTok on the marathon runners? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. So there was this one girl, I think her name was Alexis or maybe Alexa. She has, I think she took the video from the New York, like the actual camera that's stationed at the finish line. She took a clip and it's dark out. She's running across the finish line. Obviously, Taylor Swift is playing in the background. So it made me really emotional to begin with. But the caption is, shout out to my boyfriend who who ran with me for 14 miles after I said at mile 12 I wanted to give up. And it's her crossing the finish line. Then it's this king behind her running in full street clothes, jeans, a hat, a jacket, and he's filming her. And they cross the finish line, whatever. It's beautiful. I'll send it to you. I was tears streaming down my face at work. I was like, this is so embarrassing. I don't know this person.
I thought you were like scrolling in bed. You were fully at work.
No, fully at work at my desk. And my coworker looked at me and she was like, are you okay? And I was like, I just love the marathon so much. Oh my God. I was so emo about it. But like, oh my God, loved that.
Also, shout out for the 74-year-old Mario Bellini who finished his 35th marathon.
35 marathons.
Yeah, and
he was the last finisher. Yeah. Oh my God. And it was like pitch black out.
Mm-hmm.
He runs into the arms of like, I think one of the workers of the marathon. And it was just like so wholesome. Obviously I'm mentally ill, but like I'm mentally ill in the sense of like athletics, because it's like, okay, I complete a really hard feat and then I'm like, okay, and what's next? Like, I shouldn't be impressed. My sister was a freaking Olympian. Of course I don't think anything's hard.
Oh my God.
So I think it's just so special watching everyone else like complete this thing that they thought that they could never do and reach this really hard pinnacle of sports. I don't think I've ever cried over I did cry when we got third at NCAAs because we were not supposed to get third. We were supposed to get like fifth or sixth. And then, so then I cried, but that was it.
The pinnacle of athleticism for sure.
Yeah.
So beautiful. I mean, I did exit Columbus Circle, the subway station. I was like, okay, I'll run a marathon. Twist my arm.
Yeah. Well, you've run a half.
I have.
Yeah.
But like I said, I ran the half and I was like, I don't think I could ever duplicate that.
Well, that's the problem. You should never run a half and then run a marathon. You should just rip the Band-Aid off and run a full, because then you don't know what's going to hit you.
True.
But you know what you put on your Instagram story the other day was one of those Goop packets.
The energy gels.
Yeah, that you take when you're running marathons. I legitimately, I don't know what it is about those. I couldn't take them. I had to like do the chew tablets or whatever, like the gummies.
Those goos.
I would dry heave every time I took one. I would literally be like running on the West Side Highway. I would try to take one down and I would try to swallow it and I'd be like, It was nightmare fuel. I can't even look at them. They're so disgusting.
I was very triggered. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Because the half marathon was like in March. And I actually did, guys, it's so funny. I went to the marathon on Sunday and then I was like, you know what? It's time to go for a run. Dust off my running shoes. I went for a run yesterday.
Inspired.
I was inspired. But then I saw the goo and I was like, it's too soon for this.
And
like,
then
I'm not doing a long run. 3 miles. Let's go home.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's enough marathon talk.
Yeah.
We had a really good time. If you haven't gone to a marathon near you, honestly, New York is the best, but I'm sure a marathon in any city would be fun to go to.
Yeah, for sure.
But like I said, make sure you're following us on Instagram. I already plugged mine, Hendy.
Sorry, you can follow me at CG Hendy on everything.
Voila. And then also follow the Skim on Instagram. We did post a really cute pic of us at the 26-mile mark. Mm-hmm. My follower count went up after that one. So you want to check that one out.
Wholesome. But yeah, also make sure you're watching us on YouTube, where you can see a full-length video of today's episode. And as always, we have prepared a roundup of our favorite stories dominating your feeds this week. It's time for Playing the Field. All right, we're beginning Playing the Field with a story out of the NBA. Also, I just want to preface everyone, the first 2 stories today take place in the state of Pennsylvania. I think everybody in Pennsylvania needs to take a collective deep breath, particularly the men. Okay, here we go. 76ers star center Joel Embiid dominated the headlines this week after shoving a reporter in the Sixers locker room this weekend.
Following the team's 127-107 loss to the Memphis Grizzlies on Saturday night, Embiid went after this columnist for the Philadelphia Inquirer. His name is Marcus Hayes. After Hayes wrote a column that mentioned Embiid's late brother as well as his son, both who were named Arthur. And according to reports, Embiid confronted Hayes verbally before actually shoving him.
So Embiid was quoted as saying, "The next time you bring up my dead brother and my son again, you're going to see what I'm going to do to you, and I'm going to have to live with the consequences." The NBA has said that they're investigating the incident, so we'll find out whether or not there's additional consequences. But first, I do want to read what Marcus Hayes wrote.
Yes, it's very important.
In the article for context. Now, he said in his article, Joel Embiid consistently points to the birth of his son, Arthur, as the major inflection point in his basketball career. He often says that he wants to be great to leave a legacy for the boy who named after his little brother, who tragically died in an automobile accident when Embiid was in his first year as a 76er. Well, in order to be great at your job, you have to show up for work. Okay. So that was that. That part has since been removed from the article.
Which is also cowardly. I don't know who did it, but I just feel like it should stay there.
If you're going to publish it that way and it's going to go through all of those checks and balances to get published, it should at least stay there because you wrote it.
Man up, Marcus.
So I'll let you take the floor first. What did you think of the entire interaction with the context and everything?
Well, I want to start with the article just because I just am so I'm just trying to understand what his thought process was by bringing up his dead brother, who was also like 13 when he passed away. So sad. And Embiid was already playing for the 76ers. It was his first season. And his brother, I think, lives in Cameroon, which is where he's from. So it's just so sad to invoke that, but also like his son. And I'm just so literally confused as to what the actual connection is between like why he had to bring that up.
Because the whole article was about Embiid not playing.
Yes.
And essentially Marcus Hayes was going off about the fact that Philadelphia 76ers fans should be reimbursed for their tickets if Embiid is not playing in the game.
And we talked about this last week on the podcast about load management and all that stuff and blah, blah, blah. And so I think it's totally fair to be writing an article about expectations that fans have of a team, especially he is like a star player.
Yeah.
But it just makes, first of all, no sense to, again, like bring up sensitive topics when it has nothing to do with his performance. Right. I thought that was so weird.
Right.
Not even just wrong, but just fucking weird.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense.
I mean, I think as a journalist, like your number one unwritten, unspoken rule, it probably is spoken, is like you critique what happens between the lines of the field, right? Like if someone does something outside the locker room, off the field, that you have to report on, sure, you can report on it, but it's not like you critique it, you know? So that was my first problem with it all. Second is like, Joel Embiid has consistently gotten injured, right? He had surgery on his knee last
February.
Yeah, February. And so he's dealing with some repercussions from that. He's broken his face twice. He's broken fingers. He literally came back from breaking his face with the threat of losing his vision so that he could play in more games, I think in playoffs. Given like, yes, that's his job, sure. But like, okay, so why are you starting to question his work ethic and his commitment if, like, he's proven in the past that he is committed to it, whatever. Is every year different? Sure. I know that there were some reports that, like, or conflicting reports that he came back unfit, and so that was why he was starting the season on, like, on the bench or whatever, or that's the reason for his load management. I have such a problem with Marcus Hayes because obviously I did a Twitter deep dive. The guy's not a good guy. So naive of me to think that everyone in this world is a genuine good human. He's said some terrible things before. I just think the whole clickbaity aspect of this, so like that people read the Philadelphia Inquirer, is really disgusting and just like gross. And I think that there should be repercussions for him, the editor that approved the article, and the actual Inquirer. Like, what are we doing?
I also think just like, if you want to talk about Embiid's reaction and like him getting physical, I don't always agree with violence, but also, this was like a really shitty job on Marcus Hayes' behalf. And also just like he's been swarmed by the media since the season began, because he hasn't been playing really at all. And so I just feel like heat of the moment probably really got to him.
For sure.
And he's just seems really sick of it. And so I kind of understand why he had this like really big sort of outburst reaction. I just hope that he gets to play and like prove himself to this dipshit Marcus Hayes. Yeah.
I think Marcus Hayes should be banned from the locker room, to be honest, because
I mean, that's what people were saying. It's like, how did this guy even get let in?
Yeah. Well, like, because when you work for a publication, obviously, like, you have the credentials to go in and whatever. But,
but the article was out and it was published.
He should be banned.
Yeah.
100%. Also, I won't go on much more than this. You obviously know how I feel. But Embiid did say this was not the first time that he has done something like this, Marcus Hayes. And also, a lot of people were saying it was a shove. The only people that called it A, a strike, or B, an assault, were also Philadelphia Inquirer reporters. So
convenient.
Interesting. That is all. I'm interested to see what happens to Marcus Hayes, not Joel Embiid, because, I mean, he probably will be penalized by the NBA.
Yeah, which is also just worse for the team.
Yeah, but I'm interested to see what happens to Marcus Hayes.
So Playing the Field continues with yet another story about a famous athlete defending their brother's honor and fame and losing it on someone. This time we're talking about Jason Kelce, brother of Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce.
Also, future Hall of Famer Jason Kelce, incredible football center for the Eagles previously. In the now viral TikTok video, Kelce is being harassed by a crowd of Penn State fans when one of them calls Jason's brother a homophobic slur, because apparently dating Taylor Swift now makes you one, allegedly. Sorry, dating the most powerful woman on the face of the planet is, yeah. Jason can be seen then grabbing the fan's phone out of his hands and smashing it on the ground.
Yeah, I'm honestly sure you've probably heard about this story or seen it, but in case not, yeah, the video has gotten so much coverage with people taking a lot of different stances on Kelce's behavior, as well as that of the fans around him. What was your immediate reaction when you saw this?
So he did apologize at the beginning of the Monday Night Football broadcast on ESPN last night. He was like, I responded to hate with hate. This is like a low moment for me. I usually live my life by the golden rule of like treat others how you'd like to be treated, that kind of thing. Yeah, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was also going to say that, yeah, because I didn't see this until after I saw the apology, but he did repeat the same slur back to the kid. He was like, who's the beep? No, like several times. And so I'm like, ugh,
I know.
Kelce, you had me at the beginning. Because that was my thing. I was just like, okay, totally valid. I think you should tell these stupid kids who like literally seem to live their life behind a screen and forgot how to just interact with people, especially a 300-pound man. Like, how did you think he was going to react? But I was like, oh, why'd you have to say that?
Yeah.
Why'd you have to say it back to him?
I know.
So,
I think that was the moment that he wasn't proud of, obviously, which totally respect. And then, but what I didn't realize was that the video actually continues. I saw another angle last night when I was doom scrolling on Twitter that he smashes the phone, right? He picks it up. He keeps walking. He goes to toss the phone, and then Jason Kelce actually bends down to go pick it back up. The kid kind of like behind him, like pushes him a little bit.
Yeah, I did see that.
Jason Kelce gets back up, then says the like exchange that you were just noting, gives the kid his phone back, starts to walk away. The kid then goes after him.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I keep calling him a kid. He's an adult. Why are we not calling him
He's
an adult?
acting like a kid. That's
He's
why.
a college student. He is an adult. So the student then runs after him. He calls him every word in the book.
Wait, are you serious?
Calls him every word in the book continually. Then like turns to the camera and says something. He does say something about like Taylor Swift's going to pay for my phone. Okay.
Wait, what?
Yeah. And then the kid turns to the camera that's filming and goes, Travis Kelce just broke my phone. Travis Kelce just broke my phone. And I was like,
Wait, Travis?
it's Jason.
Oh my God. He doesn't
Honey.
even know who he's talking
But
to.
then he was saying earlier, like, how does it feel to know that your brother, whatever, because of Taylor Swift? So I don't know if he just mixed them up, whatever. Anyways, that's not
Was he high? Like, what was happening?
That's not the most important part. I think this is a good showing of two generations of and I'm not getting on a soapbox of like, because I grew up in the generation of social media.
Right.
I think this is a generation of Jason Kelce's age who you can say whatever you'd like, right? Free speech. Say whatever you'd like. But you have to know that there will be consequences, right? And especially if you're going to say something to someone's face. Versus the generation that has grown up behind social media and been able to hide behind it and say whatever they want, no consequences. You can't find me if my Twitter avatar is like a no name. Yeah, exactly. So it's that discrepancy. And then you're also going to try to provoke and antagonize a 300-pound man that used to move 300-pound men for a living. What are you doing? Who raised this student?
He is dumb as bricks. But honestly, miracle he made it into Penn State.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if the thing you're gonna say is extremely homophobic. Like, if you're a phobe of any kind, you reap what you sow.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
Honestly, he's really lucky that Jason Kelce didn't punch him in the face.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Jason Kelce is he's bigger than that. He wouldn't do that to someone.
I was gonna say good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But like,
knew.
God forbid it was someone else who didn't have anything to lose.
True.
Like, he would have gotten socked.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he still will. Who knows? But yeah. I mean, the internet's gonna find him. I think everyone.
I'm kind of shocked that his name and likeness hasn't really been circulated.
Well, he
yet.
was wearing a Penn State hockey sweatshirt in the video that I saw, and then people started being like, "Oh my God, he's on the hockey team." Whatever. No, I don't think he is. I think it was just he was a Penn State hockey fan. But anyways, and then another Penn State student, maybe he's not a student, but he was at the football game, started like yelling at James Franklin when he was walking off the field because they lost to Ohio State, and he yells something, and Franklin, who he should have kept walking. I mean, be the bigger person. But if you're gonna talk shit, like, you gotta own up. You gotta own up.
Yeah.
Don't say it. Don't say it if you can't take it. You know. So then Franklin stops and is like, "What's your name?" And the kid immediately spins around, starts walking up the stairs. Sorry, I keep bumping this because I'm so animated. And spins around, starts walking up the stairs, and it's just like,
who raised these kids?
I literally feel like an old person being like, what are these kids doing? But
literally. Not to be all like fist in the air.
Is everyone okay? Like,
yeah.
Oh my God.
My favorite part about that was that I was on Reddit, of course, and some kids were like, he looks like a Siberian film director from
why was
1970s.
he dressed up like he was in Peaky Blinders? Like,
he literally had like a golf cap on.
No, for real. It was like
Adidas
plaid.
tracksuit.
Yep.
But like obscure colors. And I also thought it was so funny because it's like normally when you're like talking shit,
yeah,
you know, you got your squad behind you. He had nobody. Solo. He was by himself. Like, where were his people?
With like the confidence of these students.
So much confidence, and then he just walked it off.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I just can't. I literally
The men
can't.
are not okay in the state of Pennsylvania.
In the state of Pennsylvania, correct.
Our final playing the field story involves, yet again, we're sensing a pattern, men who are behaving very badly. And this one includes someone who's no stranger to high-profile feuds.
So hip-hop star and Toronto Raptors superfan Drake was in attendance for the jersey retirement of former Raptor Vince Carter. During the broadcast, Drake joined the commentating team and said, quote, "If you ever put a DeRozan banner, I'll go up there and pull it down myself." DeMar DeRozan famously appeared in the music video for Kendrick Lamar's diss track, Not Like Us, this summer. So Drake clearly not over
And they were friends.
Oh, yeah.
They were friends, which is why Drake is so upset about it.
Yeah.
But there's more, because DeRozan clapped back with a quote of his own saying, he's going to have a long way to climb to take it down. What do you think of this beef?
I'm just like, is it really that serious? Like, can we all take a collective deep breath yet again?
But also Drake is just, I don't know, he's such a cornball.
He loves drama.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to find more ways to stay relevant, especially after Kendrick Lamar basically called him and his friends pedophiles.
Yeah.
So it's not that shocking.
Catchy song.
It is such a catchy song. Like,
They're
even
catchy.
beef aside, diss track aside.
Yeah, for real. Also, like, I get that rapper beef is legitimate, but like, it's not that serious, you know? I mean, I guess if someone's calling you and your friends that, it is that serious, but
no, but Drake's gonna Drake. Have you ever been a fan of Drake's?
I mean, yeah, I like his music. I wouldn't say that I like actively.
Oh no, I'm not. His personality is not what I was here for.
Yeah, I'm just like not.
You know, I actually was a fan of him when he was Wheelchair Jimmy on Degrassi.
Oh my God, TBT, I forgot about
when
that.
he just was Aubrey Graham.
Yeah.
Now he's Drake.
Yeah, too much.
I knew who you were back then.
Yeah.
And also, I remember. Actually, we were just talking about prom before we started recording, and I remember the soundtrack to my prom weekend was Views. By Drake, that album, 2016.
Wow.
That was the only album I ever tuned in for. And then he just got mad corny after that.
Yeah, and also like the Drake curse,
What's that?
I'm pretty sure, I hope I'm not making this up. No, I'm pretty sure like it was every team that Drake was rooting for, similar to the Sabrina Carpenter curse, that like every team Drake rooted for would lose. Like would make it to the playoffs, lose. Would like do really well, lose.
That's
so, like,
actually funnier than the Sabrina Carpenter curse because I'm sure this man is like an enthusiastic sports fan. And so he's just like showing up to the games and they lose. And he probably feels really guilty about it. I was also reading, I don't know how true this is, but I read that in 2013 he tried getting into like this Miami Heat party. They were celebrating something and they like locked the room so he couldn't get in.
Oh my god.
So it just doesn't seem like Drake's very popular anymore amongst the athletes, but I'm gonna need this whole story to come true because I need to see Drake's goofy ass just like try and actually climb because he is a man. He wants to prove himself clearly. And so I think he actually might
take it down.
I think he actually might try and take it down.
Yeah, I believe
I would love to see that.
Yeah. Also, in case you missed it, we're closing Playing the Field with an interesting headline about this year's World Series and how it measures up to women's sports. This past week, baseball fans watched the LA Dodgers close out the series with a Game 5 win against the New York Yankees. Yes, everyone wondering at home, I did watch it. Aren't you proud of me?
She did. She sure did. And that game drew approximately 18.6 million viewers, making it the most watched baseball game in the last 7 years.
Insane.
But still, that number is about 100,000 less than the amount of people who tuned in to watch. This is actually so crazy. That tuned in to watch Caitlin Clark on the Iowa Hawkeyes take on South Carolina last season. That's right. 18.7 million viewers watched the final game of the Women's March Madness tournament this year. I mean, well, this just speaks to the power of women's sports in 2024, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, I love it. I love to hear it. I think obviously like such a grand event as the World Series and the game clinching World Series, like obviously that's going to bring a huge amount of viewers. But the fact that Caitlin Clark and like two collegiate women's basketball teams were able to top that, I think it speaks volumes about where women's sports is heading.
Yeah.
But then I also just think it's so cool because it's like, do you remember, I don't remember how many years ago, I want to say it was like 3 or 4, when the NCAA got outed because of the women's, I believe it was basketball, their like weight room setup at the Final Four.
No.
So it was like the men had all of these incredible facilities and weight room, whatever. The women had a corner of a room with like a curtain drawn around it and like 2 or 3 benches. It was absurd. They got absolutely blasted for it. But it's just really awesome to see that to then where we are now and like the trajectory that women's sports is still going on. It's just really exciting.
I know.
And I'm pumped about it.
Everything's still cooking. I've been following like the news about the WNBA's expansion. Obviously, we were talking about the coaches' firings and stuff, hirings, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I'm just fascinated at everything changing right now. And yeah, I mean, they're slated to add a couple more teams to the league, which is so cool. Just means like there's more people who are interested, more people who are invested, who want to watch,
exactly,
who like want to rep a home team. So, and I feel like 2024 was a really big year, but I undoubtedly
best is yet to come.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is so
I also
exciting.
did hear that real quick ad that there is going to be a professional women's baseball league in 2026.
A league of their own.
I still have to watch it. I know.
I know.
Don't yell at me.
Okay, really quick again. I also received over the weekend a DM from a listener. Her name is Ricky Lee. And she was like, girl, you got to watch that movie. And I said, Ricky Lee, it's my homework for the weekend, but I'm sad to say I did not get to watch it. Next weekend.
She's like, it's my homework. That I didn't do.
That I'm not going to do. Thank you. Next. Are we ready to turn our attention to the NFL? I'm sure you are.
Yes, we are, my dear.
Okay, it's time for Tuesday morning quarterback. So the Dallas Cowboys continue to stumble, and they're now 3-5 after a 27-21 loss to the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday. And fans are voicing their frustration, saying the team is a major disappointment, and they are not alone.
That is correct. Cowboys starting quarterback Dak Prescott seemed to agree. He was spotted on the sidelines mouthing the words, "We effing suck."
Can you please say what he actually, like, mouths? Like,
oh, you want me to mouth it to the camera?
No, I want you to say the F word.
Oh, yes. Yes, ma'am. He said, He was spotted on the sideline.
You're getting shy now. Why are you
mouthing
getting
the
shy?
words. He was spotted on the sideline mouthing the words, "We fucking suck."
Yay. That might be Hendy's first F-bomb on the show, and it wasn't even her own words. We'll get there.
Yeah,
I can't be
steps.
the only one cursing on the show.
Baby
please.
steps. I will just say, thank God, not that I would like curse during rowing races, because that would require me to have extra energy, and I was
breath,
already
yes.
and breath, and I was already like doubled over in pain. But like, thank God there were not that many cameras around when I rode, because they see everything. You can't get away with an eye roll on the sidelines of an
It's
NFL
remarkable.
game. Yeah.
People like probably have started their lip reading careers or something with the NFL.
Oh yeah, big time. Also, Dak injured his hamstring in that game, so he's expected to miss a couple games. I don't think he's on IR as of now, but who knows, it could change. But yeah, it's just like the Cowboys are not doing too hot.
But this story reminds me of two things.
Yes.
To apply it back to my own life. It feels like when you're, maybe this is like less of a thing now because we are mostly in a hybrid world, but when you're like on Zoom during the pandemic and you thought you were on mute and you would say some stupid shit.
Totally.
That's what it feels like. Actually, even a couple of weeks ago, somebody who I work with at the Skim, who I'm friends with, she was like, dude, I thought my camera was off. I got out of the shower in a towel. I don't think anybody saw anything, but she quickly realized. So it's giving that.
Oh my God, what a jump scare.
I know. She took it in stride though.
Yeah.
And she said it was all cool.
Okay, thank
But
God.
then the other thing is that, like, I'm a question for you. So what happens to somebody like Dak Prescott after this is public? Like, does he get in trouble from the coach at all? Or is it just like, do they just tell him, like, don't say stupid shit like that? Or like, watch yourself when you're on the sidelines? Do you know?
I don't know for sure, but I would assume that it's probably like, dude, be careful.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be doing that.
They're
But
like, the fans can hate us, but you can't hate us.
yeah, but then everyone's also like, probably, it's kind of true. So yeah, it's just a mess over there. And like, it's like Ezekiel Elliott did not travel with the team apparently because of some disciplinary rules.
Oh.
Don't know what that was about. So they didn't have him. Like Jerry Jones has been under a lot of fire because he could have done a lot of made a lot of moves in the offseason, didn't. Could have gotten Derrick Henry, who's having like an insane year as a running back on the Ravens, didn't even try to, because he said he like couldn't afford him or something. I don't know. It's just like a lot is going wrong for them, and it just seems like it's going to be a tough year to be a Cowboys fan. Ooh. So feeling sorry for all of you out there.
Well, next up on Tuesday Morning Quarterback, we're taking it to your team because Aaron Rodgers, or should I say Gwyneth Paltrow, claims to have found his own little version of the Fountain of Youth. This past week, Rodgers revealed that he started drinking cayenne pepper and water, a concoction suggested to him by teammate Thomas Morstead. He said it helps him with his rehab regimen. Henny, we got to talk about your boy. Have you ever seen him downing this Fountain of Youth?
I have not seen either of them drinking the Fountain of Youth. But I will say that Thomas Morstead wore cayenne pepper socks. Like,
what?
There were little cayenne peppers on his socks. I think it was on.
Okay,
his
not
game
for
day.
nothing, but like I have only ever seen a cayenne pepper in dried form, like dried and powdered form.
Yeah, I believe that.
What does it even look like?
Also, that's a good question. Also, I like. When I was injured in college, I remember a lot of people telling me, oh, turmeric, like add turmeric to your recipes or your smoothies or whatever.
That's true.
And I've heard that has a lot of healing properties. Did I know that cayenne pepper does? No. I have taken those little like immunity shots that have cayenne pepper in them. It's just spicy. Like
it's just spicy.
What
water.
they're doing is drinking spicy water, which can't be fun.
I know. And he's like, yeah, I think I've started to feel better ever since starting this regimen. And I'm like, Aaron Rodgers, are you sure it's not like the multi-million-dollar health treatments that you have access to?
Yeah, he
like,
also takes care of his body like day in, day out, every second that he's in the facility, out of the facility. Like, I'm sure.
But no, it's the cayenne pepper water. It's giving wellness girl scam.
Yeah. You know what someone was comparing it to was like the lemon water and cayenne pepper diet. Apparently that was a thing. Yeah, I mean, it was
cleanse.
It was before our time.
Yes.
You could never catch me doing a juice cleanse. I'm too hungry for that.
It's not even juice. It's like just water at that
Yeah,
point.
it's water. You're just drinking water. You're just starving yourself.
You're just getting hydrated, babe.
But hey, if it works, it works. I will add, Thomas Morstead did have the longest punt of his career. I believe it was 75 yards on Thursday night. So I'm just saying.
Because he was pounding that cayenne pepper water.
I'm just saying, if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if it works for you, keep doing you.
Okay, well, speaking of Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, it looks like the cayenne regimen is paying off because the Jets, I mean, you were there.
Yeah.
They won.
It was cray-cray.
Was it?
Obviously they didn't score any points in the first half, and then they came out at halftime and like something shifted in the locker room at halftime. And
everyone took cayenne pepper water shots.
Must have. Something shifted because then they started playing very, very well. For those who did not watch the game, it's probably old news as of now, but
still got to talk about it.
Yeah, you have to.
Because you were there.
Garrett Wilson caught 2 touchdowns, both of which he caught one-handed. I've said this from the jump because I worked for the Jets when he got drafted. Like, that was my first year with them, and I've been there from the genesis of Garrett Wilson with the Jets. He is quite literally one of the most athletic, if not the most athletic person I have ever seen. The way that he moves his body on the field and controls it is insane. But the way that he caught that second touchdown, he is like legitimately a living impersonation of the Jumpman logo, like the Jordan Jumpman logo. He is fully extended, catching it behind his head. He catches it one-handed. He brings it in. He gets somehow his shin to touch inbounds. His 1 foot touches inbounds. In the NFL, you have to have both feet touch. His 1 foot touches inbounds, and then his other leg is like about to go out of bounds. His shin touches before his knee touches out of bounds. So it was ruled a touchdown. It was the craziest thing I have ever witnessed in person. I was literally standing there going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Dude.
And at first, everyone thought it didn't count, of course, and then it did, and the place erupted. It was nuts. So yeah, he is a freak athlete, and I can't get over it. I probably never will get over it.
That's crazy. So, like, you watched it happen live.
Mm-hmm.
I did not watch it happen live, so I watched a shit ton of replays because I was just like, oh, he literally I swear, like, people have been comparing this catch to the Odell Beckham Jr. catch. Yep. I don't know how long ago that was, like maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But, like, the difference with this one, I feel like, is that Garrett Wilson, like, literally, it was, to me, it was very ballet. It was very dance. The way you just described how he has a lot of control and awareness of his body on the field, that to me is like a dancer. And it looked like a dancer move because he literally freeze framed for a second. Like, he was in air in that position for a second. I was like, oh my God. But so my whole point was that, so I got to watch replays on and on and on, but you just saw it.
Yeah.
And then what happens? And do you go to the sideline and you get to watch a replay too of that thing happening, or like?
So every touchdown gets reviewed by the refs. So they start on the big jumbo boards. They start playing the video that they have. I think the broadcast had the best video of it because when I went back and watched the broadcast angle, they like really slowed it down. They zoomed in on his shin touching before his knee. But so yeah, we're all waiting with bated breath essentially. And then the ref comes back on the screen after reviewing the play multiple times and overturns it because it was ruled not a touchdown by one ref but a touchdown by another. So then he overrules it. It's a touchdown.
Wow.
And the place goes crazy. It was so cool. Aww. I'm just like,
season highlight maybe?
I think it was like the catch of the year by far. Yeah. So I would love to see someone top it because that would mean we get even better football. But it was crazy. You know what else was crazy? Just when you thought the highlights couldn't get any better, Saquon Barkley of the Philadelphia Eagles decided to put on a show for the fans Sunday.
Yes, in case you missed it, Barkley got the ball, broke a tackle, and he pulled off a crazy spin move, and then he finished with a reverse hurdle over a third tackler to give you a visual. Sure, we know what a track hurdle is, whatever, but I want to give you a more fun visual.
Okay.
So it's like, imagine I got on Caroline's shoulders. And, you know, my legs are usually like 90-degree angle, but then I decide to extend them.
Yes. Okay.
And then you just imagine that Caroline disappeared.
Yep. That's a really good visualization,
right?
Blake.
I know. It's like you can imagine the track hurdle, but imagining me on your shoulders is much more fun.
Yeah.
So that's basically what this man did. And he like went over the head backwards. And that's just a lot of, again, awareness.
And then landed on his feet and kept going.
A lot of awareness, though, because I mean, I'm sure he wasn't thinking about this in the moment, but I, as a replayer, I was just like, he got to make sure his junk don't hit the top of the head,
this is
the
what Blake
front
is
of the helmet.
No, I think, you know what's the craziest thing is like this guy can also squat like 400 pounds. Like Saquon is a big dude. The fact that these guys have this type of body control, but then also like he jumped the height of a human.
That's so
backwards.
true.
Like he also was like not fully losing his balance, but off balance because he does this crazy spin move, completely evades the guy. And then it's almost like the reason why he had to do the hurdle backwards was because he was continuing to spin. So then he just somehow jumps up and still spins backwards and hurdles him and then lands on his feet and falls forward to get more yards. It was insane.
Yeah, I mean, the commentators call it the best 14-yard pickup you'd ever seen. And do you think they're right?
Yeah, for sure. 100%. I don't think people realize. I mean, I think people are like, holy cow, this is insane. But like, I don't think people actually realize how hard it is to do because it's just like, no one can do it. So how would you know how hard it is kind of thing? It's crazy. I can't get over it.
It was, to me, it had whiffs of Simone Biles. That's all I have
to
say.
For sure. Oh my God. Yep. Yeah, definitely. Insane. But yeah, just the plays keep going. So let's move on from highlights to some lowlights, unfortunately, on Tuesday Morning Quarterback with a pair of questionable ejections from the weekend.
Okay, so the first one belongs to Puka Nacua of the Los Angeles Rams, who was ejected from the team's nail-biter of a win over the Seattle Seahawks. So the Rams closed things out with a game-winning touchdown as the time was expiring, but Puka, where was he? He was nowhere to be found by that point because the officials had ejected him for a punch to the head of a defender. But what did you think of the replays? I feel like you had some strong thoughts when we were talking about this off air.
Once again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. You can never be the second guy because the second guy always gets caught.
True.
So the whole play happens. The only replay that I have been able to find is the same one that was shown on the broadcast. It's like from a very zoomed out angle, and whoever's guarding him the two guys are matched up, and whoever is guarding him shoves him to the ground, and then Puka, as he's getting up, like you can kind of see him move his hand, but it also just kind of looks like a shove. Maybe the ref who was standing right there saw a very direct punch. I don't know. It didn't really look like a punch to me. Like a fine, 100%. A penalty, 100%. The ejection, I get it. When you throw a punch, you have to be ejected. But, like, that didn't totally look like a punch to me. Puka Nacua was quoted saying, like, he lost his cool. There were some words exchanged before that play or maybe, like, before pregame or something that had probably him more – these aren't his words, but, like, more heated, emotional than he should have been. But –
and, you know, I've watched actually a full-length interview with Puka Nacua before, just one. Actually with our guest, Mina Kimes, as I was researching – she's not our guest today, but she will be soon.
Yeah.
And he just seems like a lovely man. He seems very soft-spoken.
Yeah.
He is a member of the AAPI community like myself.
Like myself.
And so I just don't want to believe. I don't want to believe these stories.
I know.
Your campaign.
I know. Yeah, it's tough. I get it. You're in the heat of the moment. Whatever stuff happens. But, like, you do have to just be more aware when you're on the field. But
it's hard in the heat of the moment.
That being said, I don't think it was a punch.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so the second questionable ejection was from the Detroit Lions road win over the Packers Sunday afternoon. Defensive back Brian Branch was ejected during the second quarter for a helmet-helmet hit that was flagged for unnecessary roughness. After the ejection, Branch earned an additional 15-yard penalty for giving the refs a double middle finger on the way out.
Yeah, his teammates and fans have come to his defense saying the play didn't quite rise to the level of an ejection. You saw this one too. What do you think? Do you think it was ejection worthy? Also, like, are we here for the double middle finger in general as an insult in life, or do we feel like it's a little too sixth grade boy?
I'll start with the middle finger because as a New Jersey driver, I've been flipped off so many times. Like, I don't know why that's the one that people go to when driving, but
on behalf of my New Jersey community, I apologize.
Thank you. I've
Honestly,
been looking for that.
I wouldn't be surprised if like my father flips you off because that man has road rage unlike anything I've ever seen, and it's frightening. He's a different man when he's behind the wheel.
New Jersey highways, scary place. Do not mess around if you're not ready. I personally like to go with a solid thumbs down because I feel like that's more impactful, to be honest.
Are you kidding?
When you get a thumbs down from someone, I think it hits different than a middle finger. Middle finger,
You're gonna
everyone
just, like,
gives you
take
the
it
middle
off. You're like,
finger.
what?
Everyone gives you that.
You're right.
When you're like, oh yeah, like I don't know. I think it's.
I'm gonna give him the L. Like, you're a loser.
That's a good one. I like that one too. Anyways, so this is hard because obviously the NFL has been trying to minimize helmet-to-helmet contact for player safety for a while. The big thing here, and I think Tom Brady said it on the broadcast, so people have heard it, is can you prove that there was intent to hit helmet-to-helmet? In my opinion, you can't because you can see he like almost tries to turn his shoulder last second as he's about to go into this guy. But also, everything that we have watched of this play is slow motion. If you watch the play in full speed, you cannot stop yourself. He is running full speed, trying to make a tackle. That is his job. He's like in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. This guy is so good. This is what he does. There was not enough time to stop. The refs allegedly think so. I think that's crazy. Or like change his body positioning or alter the way that he was going to tackle. No shot. If you watch that play in full speed, no, impossible. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
So you're not a fan of either of these ejections this week, it sounds like.
No. And like, obviously, I'm anti throwing the punches. I'm obviously anti head-to-head contact.
Oh.
I don't know.
My mind is in the wrong place.
I kind of enjoyed the double middle finger. I thought it was funny. But I just think that, like, again, a ref's job is hard because it comes with that human aspect where you have to make that judgment and that call.
So
and it's very fast and whatever. But I just think that, come on, it was just too, I don't know what the right word is. It was just like not actually what they called it for.
Yeah.
A penalty? Yeah, totally. Get that. A fine? Totally. Sure, get that. But like not an ejection. I don't know. Too much in my opinion. Okay, quickly next, we have to recap last night, Monday Night Football. Chiefs were playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Came down to kind of like a nail biter, went into overtime, the whole 9 yards. At one point, Patrick Mahomes is literally being like carried off the field.
Oh my.
I messaged you and Sean on Slack at like 10:30 at night.
My ass was in bed.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't text you guys. That was really weird.
I don't get notifications.
But I was like, oh my God, I think Patrick Mahomes is going to be out of this game. This is big football tea. And then literally 2 seconds later, he comes out of the injury tent jogging on the sideline. I was like, never mind. Like, are we?
Caroline thought she was breaking news.
I was like,
in
are
our
we
Slack
for real?
chat.
So once again, never count out the Chiefs or Patrick Mahomes, apparently, because they are 8-0 and can do no wrong. But I do have to say, so they traded for DeAndre Hopkins because they were down a lot of wide receivers. They traded for him from the Titans. They got him. He got his first touchdown with the Chiefs last night. His touchdown celebration, I know like usually we could say this for Send It, but oh my God, it was iconic. He did the Remember the Titans, like I don't even know how you would describe it, but like the down and then the up and then the down. It's amazing. We'll put the video on this.
Yeah.
But he did it like from Remember the Titans.
Yes.
And he was on the Titans. I don't know if it was a dig or if it was like a tribute. What do you think?
That's a good question. I'm gonna believe it is a tribute because that movie sits fondly in my heart.
It's
and
one of the
I'm
greatest
naive.
movies of all time.
Yeah.
Like I quote it all the time.
I watched it for some reason my teachers in like 6th grade made us watch Rudy and Remember the Titans.
Great movie.
Big football year for me.
That was the
Big
beginning of
football
Blake's
year.
fandom. Yes. So again, never doubt the Chiefs because they're 8-0 and they just keep winning.
So funny is that I'm part of r/NFL noobs on Reddit because I'm trying to learn about football.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. And honestly, I feel like there's got to be a NFL for noobs who are noobier than noobs.
Okay.
Because some of these questions these people submit, and I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
But someone was like, why does everyone hate the Chiefs so much? And it's like, well, they're fucking good. So sometimes when there's a really good team, everybody just hates them.
Because you know what this is very reminiscent of? Tom Brady and the Patriots. Everyone hated them because they just had a dynasty. They were dominant. It didn't matter who was on the field, who was injured. They just kept winning. They always figured out a way. This game went into overtime and like they were leading the whole game. Then it gets tied in the last second, goes into overtime. They still win. So it's like, okay, classic Chiefs. So yeah, that's it.
So it wouldn't be midseason in the NFL, though, if we didn't hear about more teams giving up on their coaching staff. The Saints announced Monday that head coach Dennis Allen was fired from the team after their 7th loss in a row. Owie. The Saints named assistant head coach and special teams coordinator Darren Rizzi as the interim head coach. Are you surprised by this announcement?
Not totally, because obviously 7 losses in a row, you have to change something, and it's always the head coach that kind of gets the blow. Unless there's like a benching involved. But yeah, 7 in a row, that's tough. So not completely surprised. The Raiders also announced a shakeup in their coaching staff as well. Not as dramatic, but the offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy, was let go by the team along with 2 other offensive assistants. Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce said the decision was his own. Getsy's firing comes after just 9 games in the role, makes him one of the quickest assistants to be fired. The record is 7 games, which happened with the Cardinals offensive coordinator back in 2018. So do you feel like it's like scapegoating?
Well, funny you ask.
So opinionated.
No, I mean, it's funny when these stories come across my desk on my computer screen. I'm like, I gotta know what's going on. So I tap into, like I said, the communities on Reddit, because I go to the team subreddit. I go to the NFL Noob subreddit. I go to
journalism
NFL.
At its finest. Baby.
Literally, I put my ear to the door and I see what the people are saying.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of people are thinking it's a scapegoat situation. Especially people are like, why didn't you just wait till after the seasons? Because I feel like people are like, you're compromising our draft pick right now by doing this midseason just to win a couple games, maybe not even make it to the playoffs. Also, the New York Times has a really cool tool, actually, where you can like put in a team and it'll show how many matches they have up and like who they're playing against, and you can select which team you think is going to win, and then it'll calculate based off of like hundreds of thousands of possible outcomes, like their percent chance of making it into the playoffs.
Whoa.
And so I was doing this
fun.
last night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Blake is an NFL girl.
I am. And so I think, according to my calculations, really the New York Times calculations, I could never put a gun to my head. I could not figure this out for the life
math
of me.
is not our strong suit.
No. But the Raiders would have to win like at least 5 more games to even have like a 25% chance of making it to the playoffs. It was so interesting to me.
Don't tell my dad that.
Oh, he a Raiders guy?
Yeah. Born and raised California, baby. Yeah, he's not me, him. He is sad. Oh. Yeah. So.
What do you think? Do you think it's a scapegoat situation? That's what the people are saying. I want to hear it from a pro.
People. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But again, like I said, when you lose a lot in a row, something has to change. I don't think the head coaching would change because they just, like, Antonio Pierce was an interim coach because they fired their head coach. Was it last year? Wow, it was last year. Time is flying. But so then Antonio Pierce, like, it wouldn't be him. It was too soon kind of thing. He hasn't coached enough. So yeah, kind of a scapegoat situation. What can we do? Sorry, Raiders. Sorry, Dad. It's tough out there. But yeah.
So to close out Tuesday Morning Quarterback, today's actually a big day for NFL front offices.
Yes.
Because 4 p.m. Eastern time today marks the trade deadline. Can you tell us what that deadline actually is and like why it's happening now? What week are we in? 10?
Yeah. It's like midway through the season. So like in the most simple of terms, it's essentially like the last chance you have to make any trades on your team until March, because March is the official new year of the NFL. So I think why they do it now is because this is the halfway point of the season. If you have players that are hurt, if you have needs that haven't been met, like now it's kind of like your last chance to get all of the assets you can for your team to try and obviously go to the playoffs, try to make the Super Bowl, yada, yada, yada. So
it seems stressful for the players because like if you get traded, don't you like have to learn? It's like learning choreography. You got to learn a whole new dance.
Yeah.
in the middle of the season. That's crazy.
And also, not to mention, you have to just pick up and move your entire life and
True,
your family if you have one. So,
yeah.
So I don't know what moves are like projected. I'm sure that there's tons of calls being made around the NFL at the moment. But yeah, I think it will be interesting to see if any big names move before 4 p.m.
We conclude this episode once again with my favorite segment called Send It, where we share a collection of our favorite viral moments from this weekend that you should be sending to your group chat. Caroline, take the floor.
This is a great one. Okay, hopefully you guys all saw this. On Sunday, the Pistons came to New York City for a game against the Brooklyn Nets. Unfortunately, the entire city was stuck in this situation because they were all out watching the marathon, meaning that the traditional car and bus route were heavily restricted.
We were part of the problem.
Yeah, but I mean, I love being part of the problem. What did the Pistons do? They had to get on the subway like us regular folk and ride their way to the Barclays Center. I thought it was the funniest thing because it was like just an entire subway car full of these incredible superstar athletes.
And of course, like, nobody bat an eye.
No.
Like, if I saw a Piston on the subway, I'd be like, okay,
yeah,
scooch over, babe.
Yeah. Can I have that seat, actually?
Imagine also, like, you know how on the subway there's like on the orange trains, as in like the old ass 1970s, I think, trains, there's like the 3-seater and then nobody ever wants to sit in the middle.
No.
Imagine like having to park yourself between like 2 7-feet men.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, I've never seen this before. I wonder if I would like clock it. Like, why are there so many tall men here?
They're like sitting down, a couple of them, or most of them, I think, and their like knees are touching as they're sitting on opposite sides of the subway because that's how tall they are.
Oh my God.
It was insane.
I do think it should be a requirement for any famous person or any like city official to have to ride the subway from at least like one borough to another.
Yeah, humbles you.
Yeah, exactly.
Keeps you grounded.
So my turn to provide a Send It nominee. Oh my God, guys, this one's so cute. I'm going to go with the wiener dog who went rogue at the Browns game on Sunday. So a dachshund got loose on the field and went ham, running away from its owner. And there were like a half dozen people trying to catch him. I'm honestly shocked this video hasn't made more of its rounds.
Agreed.
I just want to see him getting a contract. He should be signed to a team immediately. The run, the yards on that guy. What did you think?
I mean, I was actually shocked that because the Browns mascot is a dog, but like a big dog.
Yeah.
So
not a wiener dog, for
I was
sure.
actually surprised that like it wasn't one dog chasing the other. Like I'm surprised it didn't get out of hand in that regard. But hilarious.
That would have been a good moment.
Yeah.
Like they missed an opportunity there.
For sure.
The mascot.
Okay, next Send It. I have to talk about the ULM assistant football coach who lost his freaking mind on Sunday going after one of his own linemen during the game. Cameron Blankenship, who coaches the O-line, was seen jumping up and down, slamming his headset on the ground, and eventually bum rushing his player on the sideline.
God.
He even had to be separated by another player. Like, this one has to be seen to do it justice. You just have to watch it and trust me on this one.
It is actually worse than how Caroline is describing it.
He loses his mind.
Yeah.
No words.
No words.
Once again, grown men, can we take a deep breath together?
There's actually this TikToker, I should say. I don't know if you've ever seen him. Kind of niche. He's in New York City, and he always says he's wearing like a suit and tie because he works corporate. And he does this thing where he has temper tantrums in the middle of the sidewalk.
What happened?
So for our audio listeners, this isn't going to hit as hard, but I want you to go to the YouTube video. I don't know, maybe like around minute 50. And he does this. He goes, like that's all he does in his suit and tie in the middle of Manhattan. Of course, New York, nobody bats an eye.
That was kind of like what the football coach did.
That is what he was doing.
Yeah.
I think they should do a collab.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah. I think he needs Xanax or
I think
something.
he needs to seek mental health therapy.
Yeah. Jeez. Louise.
Anyway, the last Send It for the day. Did you see the Lions fan wearing a cheese grater at the game in the stands of the Green Bay for the game against Packers on Sunday?
Yeah.
Do you want to explain why he was wearing a cheese grater on his head?
It was so good. It was so good. So like the whole thing at Lambeau is everyone wears, and like Packer fans in general, is everyone wears a cheese head.
Yes.
Because, Wisconsin,
dairy,
cheese, big there. And so I actually saw a tweet of the guy who was wearing it, and he like has a selfie with him. His wife is a Packers fan. So that's why he was wearing the cheese grater hat. I just think it's such a good burn. It's like easy. It's not
tasteful,
provoking. It's tasteful.
It's subtle.
Yep. It's funny. Everyone can laugh at that. I loved it. I thought that was very well done.
Anyway, that is it for this week's Send It. So be sure to send the Well Played podcast to your friends, family, coworker, please. Or make us your Instagram story. Actually, this week we're not doing any promos because it is election day. And, you should be focusing on getting out there, getting the vote out. So
for sure,
tell your friends about our show. Check out our YouTube video. But Caroline, tell us what Send It video did you like the best?
I think it's a tie for me. Actually, no, I'm going to pick one. I think it's the cheese grater. It's just so well done.
Yeah, I know. We talk a lot about people having good shit talking, and that is, like you said,
it's like my kind of roast, you know? Yeah. It's not, you're not too loud. You're not coming after a person for like who they are.
You're right.
It's just
very tasteful,
simple, to the point. It's funny.
I like that.
Me too.
That's not my vote, though. No.
Damn.
Mine is the wiener dog because I'm actually coveting a long-haired blonde wiener dog. Sorry, that pause was uncomfortably long. It's because usually when I say long-haired blonde wiener dog, I say it with my dog voice. And so for a second there, I was thinking if I should say it with my dog voice. And it just happened to be before I said wiener dog.
Yeah.
So I think this is when we wrap the show.
Yeah, we need to go.
We got to go. It's too much.
Blake needs to go back to bed. Oh my God, that was hilarious. Okay, well, that's it for this episode of Well Played, presented by The Skim. Thanks. Oh, I can't even
She can't even finish.
Thank you, as always, for listening.
Yes, same drill next Tuesday, except that whatever the fuck that was. We'll return with another episode of Well Played, so be sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you're listening. You can also leave us a review or Caroline, get it together.
I'm sorry, I'm fine.
Just can't stop laughing. I sincerely apologize for that, if it was offensive. But you can leave us a review. I also encourage you to say what up in my DMs. I'll say
wait,
it.
I'm sad. Why has Blake gotten
Caroline's DMs are dry as fork right now, guys.
I'm not asking for thirsty people in my DMs. I honestly, okay, really quickly, and then we'll leave. I'm sorry, Sean. I have this thing where I think the majority of my followers are men because I work for an NFL team, and so naturally the fan base has more men in it or whatever. I don't know, whatever. I want the majority of my Instagram followers so desperately to be women. I'm posting my outfits for a reason.
Yeah.
I only dress up for the ladies.
I love the game day outfits. They're honestly my favorite part of
No, and
football.
literally when Scott tells me my outfit's ugly, I kind of think that I know. Well, he never says ugly because he's too sweet for that. But when he's like, I don't really like that, that means I know that I've nailed the trend. When I bought ballet flats a couple weeks ago, he was like, those are not it. And I wore them to work, obviously, because I kept them. And I got so many compliments from the ladies. So I really am dressing up for the ladies here, and I just want them to appreciate it because it's all for them. So, wouldn't mind some DMs from the girls
Even a fire emoji react to an outfit of Caroline's.
Or just chat and say, hey, I'd love a new friend.
The DMs are open is all we want to say.
Yeah.
So
let's be friends.
Yeah. Tell us one more time where people can follow you. Slide into those DMs.
You're right. So in order to do that, I need to provide a username. @CGHendy. Sauce me a follow and a DM.
Yeah.
Blake?
@BL3As4KsE.
So seamless these
Getting
days.
better every time.
And follow The Skim wherever you get your social media.
Yeah. Mostly on Instagram, though, these days.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks for listening to Well Played.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I took your line.
Oh, I didn't realize that was my line. Okay. Until next time, thanks for listening to Well Played.
The only podcast in a league of its own.